Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of In the Eyes of Truth. And with us is our old friend, the Moscow photographer, who's not in Moscow, unless it's Moscow, Idaho. Well, for now, for
No,
now.
not in Moscow photographer. Yeah.
Eddie Gonzales.
Let me start over. Not in.
Hey there, entrepreneurs. Are you feeling the squeeze from increasing regulations and higher taxes? Maybe you've noticed the growing instability and thought there has to be a better way. Well, you're not alone, and that's exactly why you need to consider offshoring your wealth now. Imagine a life where your hard-earned money isn't constantly under threat from unpredictable government policies. Sounds pretty good, right? Let me tell you. It's not just a dream, it's a smart strategy. Here at Exit Strategy, we specialize in helping entrepreneurs like you protect and grow their wealth. We navigate the complex world of international finance so you don't have to, from setting up offshore accounts to advising on the best countries with favorable tax laws. We've got you covered. Now, I know what you're thinking. Offshoring sounds risky, maybe even a bit shady, but the truth is many savvy business owners are already doing it. It's not just about dodging taxes, it's about creating a safety net for your future. Imagine diversifying your assets across multiple jurisdictions. When one country faces economic downturns, your wealth remains secure. Think of it as an insurance policy against the uncertainties of life. And let's not forget, having a portion of your wealth offshore can open up opportunities for international investments. You're no longer limited by the economic climate of a single country. You can tap into booming markets around the world, maximizing your returns. But here's the kicker. Time is of the essence. With increasing global scrutiny and tightening regulations, the window for easy offshoring is closing fast. The sooner you act, the better positioned you'll be. So why wait? Protect your wealth, secure your future, and explore new opportunities with Exit Strategy. Don't let the rising dangers in the US economy catch you off guard. Reach out to us today and take the first step towards financial freedom. Because when it comes to your wealth, playing it safe is the riskiest move of all. Thanks for watching, and remember, your future starts with the decisions you make today. Choose wisely, choose Exit Strategy. Catch you in the next video.
Where am I? Man, I don't even know. It's too early during the day, Stas, for an interview. What is it in Moscow? It's like, what, 10 p.m.,
10:30.
10:30?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's 1:30 here in very rainy, cloudy, misty Texas, man. It just sucks.
Woo to the Confederacy.
Big time.
You know, I'll start off with this, and I'm not sure if I threw that video out to you or not. It's a TikTok video from I spent 18 years in California, in North Carolina. So the South is second homeland, and there's a video of that guy from Appalachia. He's like, California. We had some people from California come out and help us, but it's California. So I hope the people get help, but everything's going there. And he's videotaping everything around. It's like 4% of the wreckage has been cleaned up. People are
Wow.
still going to shelters to get basic food items. They're living in tents. They're living in trailers. They're having to pay mortgage payments on houses that are destroyed, right? No government friggin' help. You want to take a shite somewhere, you go buy yourself a porta potty and you pay for it to get cleaned. What the
That's
frick, man?
insane.
And you
That's
got the
insane.
and then you got the Washington Satanists over there, and oh, we'll give everything to L.A. because they're liberal Hollywood star buddies are sitting there. But for honest Christian abiding people, screw
It's a
you.
broken system, man. It's a broken system. And not only is it broken, it's partisan. I mean,
Oh,
and it's not even along party lines, right? Because there is such a thing as the uniparty.
mm-hmm.
So I throw in Republicans and Democrats and whatever other party you want to, even the independents. You just throw them all in there because if you're in the club, you're in the club. I don't
Yep.
care what label you want to call yourself or by what political definition you go by today. It doesn't matter. You're in the club. you're the elite.
Yep. And Appalachia, obviously, and in the South is not the elite.
No, not at all, man. It's salt of the earth people. You know what I mean? It's people just everyday, normal, everyday Americans.
Well, let me ask you this:
Men are men and women are women.
besides paying taxes, what else does the South give Yankee land? Oh, I know. Most of the soldiers are doing the fighting for their little adventures outside the U.S.
Yep. And from Texas, you get a lot of oil and natural gas for
Hmm.
your cars, for your Bentleys and your BMWs and your Mercedes that you drive in California.
Yep. Yep. Nobody appreciates that though.
No, not at all.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, just looking at it. I mean, and okay, we're Russians. We're used to winter. Actually, this is pretty damn mild winter. Every second day is above freezing, or every third day.
I've
But
heard.
these people are in the mountains. So maybe North Carolina and the South, but these people are in the mountains, and it is snowing and it is freezing, and people with their children are living in tents. The richest country in the world can't freaking put a trailer even for these people.
Now, that brings up another point, Stas, because right after the election in November, people couldn't understand how did Trump win? Okay. Well, you've got people in North Carolina who vote and they don't forget.
Hmm.
And here's the other thing is that you had a whole country, you had 49 other states looking at North Carolina saying, hey, that was them. What if next time it's us?
Yeah.
They're going to do the same thing to us. So, the whole response this last 4 years has just been nothing but a freaking cluster and a reminder to everyday Americans that you mean absolutely nothing to the elites. Absolutely nothing. You are expendable.
Well, I wouldn't run too far ahead of the train with Trump either, because we're going to live and see what, making
Yeah,
peace
we
in
got to live and
Ukraine is
see.
important. Of course, Kellogg's little plan is dead on arrival. It was a stillborn. I mean, Russia's winning. What the hell are we going to make concessions? It doesn't work that way. But that's one side. But the other side better be taking care of the people, not just in Hollywood, but taking care of the people in the South. Or what the hell is the
They need to
South
take care of
still
everybody.
part of the Union in that case? Go take Greenland, go take Canada, go take friggin' Denmark if you want, and bye bye to the South. Because if you don't take care of what's already there,
Absolutely, I'll give you one example. And of course, we can talk many, many different examples, but I'm going to use cell phones because it's near and dear to my heart. Because I just bought two new cell phones for my kids, while I
ooh,
was here.
that's an investment.
That's not only is it an investment, all right, it's a ripoff. Let's
Oh
just
yeah.
call it what it is. So, first of all, cell phones aren't cheap, 800 plus,
Oof,
$1,000,
oof.
but no problem. No problem. We'll finance it for you for 24 months, zero down, zero interest, no problem. Just we want your service. All right. So they get you in. All right. It's so difficult for me to explain stuff because I pay $7.60, you know, in Russian rubles. Okay. If we convert it to American dollars for cell phone service and Russia. And
Yep.
it freaking works. It works down in the hole, down in the metro.
Hmm.
It works anywhere in the city. It works. I don't care what, it just freaking works. Here I've got T-Mobile, been a T-Mobile customer for, I don't know, 15 something years or whatever. But still, there are places here in Texas where I can drive my car and I'm losing service. Why am I losing service in the most exceptional country in the world,
And how
right?
much are you
We're
paying for the
the
service?
we're the leading country in the world, right? Largest economy, yada yada, whatever you want to call it, American exceptionalism. But I don't have freaking cell phone service on this freaking road that I'm paying over $200 for,
Ooh,
for
wait,
four
wait, wait. You're
phones.
paying $200 for the cell phone service?
When you factor in all of the other costs that I have to pay because I'm
Wow.
financing phones and doing all kinds of other stuff. Hey,
Wait.
here's the thing, Stas, and you'll agree with me when I say this. Americans deserve better,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The thing is, we've been living in shit. Let's just call it what it is for the last 40, 50 years. And the decline has been so small that no one ever really paid attention to it because they got you distracted with Hollywood, with the game shows, with the sitcoms, with the comedy, with all this
Football. Yeah.
football, sports, and all this. Now, in the last, I would say, 10, 12 years, that decline has been a little bit sharper.
Oh, a lot
And
sharper.
in the last 4 years, it just took a dump and went straight down. So now it's just completely obvious.
I'd say the decline's been pretty sharp since 2008, since the Great Recession.
Well, yeah, they were a lot sharper. And that's when a lot of people started waking up, and started seeing that, hey, man, this is not going our way. And so here's the thing is that, Tucker Carlson said it best when he came to Moscow. When he came to Moscow the first time, and if you haven't seen that interview, you need to go see it. Anyway, he's walking around. I don't know, where did he go? He went to Magnit. He went to some supermarket, and he's buying a week's worth of food, and he's walking around the metros, and he's just looking at Moscow. And his first realization was, I'm radicalized. Why don't we have this in the United States? Why do I feel safe here? Why can I walk into a supermarket and I have got all of these varieties of foods? And not only that, it's affordable. Now, granted, he's Tucker Carlson.
Everything's affordable to him.
For the average working Russian, and especially professional Russians, they can afford this.
Yeah.
It's not astronomical.
Yeah.
And it radicalizes you. And so, I get asked by a lot of my American friends, like, what's Russia like? Well, and I can't really just generalize Russia because I haven't been all over the country, but let's say Moscow, St. Pete. What's it like compared to the U.S.? And I said, well, you know what? It's a lot like the U.S.
In the 90s
I mean, it
and
really
80s.
is. It really is. It's just better. And they say, how is it better? And Stas, I have a hard time articulating. Yeah, that's a good analogy, what you said. It was like the 80s. But I have a hard time articulating how it's better because it's nuanced. But it is better. And the only way for you to find out is you got to come visit. Mm-hmm. Just put away your biases, put away your fears. Go to worryfreerussia.com if you'd like some assistance in visiting Russia. But anyway, shameless plug there. But really, come visit.
And my wife teaches Russian to English speakers. So if you decide you want to move, we can do online too. Shameless next plug.
Learn some lessons. Yeah, learn some words before you come. But here's the deal. Come and visit.
Yeah.
I don't want, I'm labeled as a Kremlin propagandist, right?
Oh my.
Yeah, and I wish I was paid by the Kremlin because I'm not getting paid by YouTube either. So
yeah. That's true.
We're doing this pro bono. But here's the deal: you got to come visit, and if you visit, I'm not even going to attempt to convince you. You will convince yourself, and then you come back to the United States and you tell me how it's better.
Here's one for you. I'm getting ready to do a procedure that every single male, whether he likes it or not, if he's not in a third world country, is going to wind up having to do. And that's called getting a camera shoved up your arse, or otherwise known as colonoscopy. Yes.
Been there, done that.
How much is a colonoscopy in the U.S.?
I don't know. I haven't had one in a while, but the last one that I did have was covered by insurance, and I had to pay a copay. And I believe my copay was probably around $100.
Okay.
But the procedure is probably, I would say, no less than about $5,000 nowadays. Mm-hmm. I'd be surprised if it were less than $5,000.
I'm going to a private clinic. And the reason I'm going to a private clinic, I can go to a government clinic, government hospital. In fact, we have a very good hospital not too far away in what's called Zeleninograd, which is a island of Moscow, 40 kilometers west of Moscow. But anyways, very good hospitals. You know, everything's modern, but you have to get on a wait line because it's free. So, and I just want to get it done. I got a hard graphic and I've got to get it done. So I'm going to a private clinic with anesthesia. It's going to run me 20,000 rubles, a little under $200 in a private clinic. And by the way, if you move to Russia and you get residency, you're automatically covered by government insurance, so you can go to any hospital. In fact, I mean, if you're injured, they're not going to turn you away. You get to a hospital, they'll take whoever,
Right.
because they're not allowed to turn people away. It's not like American hospitals that go, well, you don't have insurance, bye-bye, we don't want to deal with you. No, no, they'll go to jail for that. They will take you in and they will sure treat you, no matter how long it takes.
$200 is reasonable. I mean, you would think about it. That's probably a copay nowadays
Oh, yeah.
here in the States. That covers the entire procedure.
Yep, yep.
In
Hey, it's
Russia.
$50 for the anesthesia, but yeah, I know what it's like without it because
Go ahead and get it, Stas.
yeah, I got it once in the
Throw it
U.S.
in there.
And the American doctor didn't bother waiting for the drip to kick in before he started the you want the anesthesia. He got to hear some choice words out of me for about 30 seconds. But yeah, so that's and they don't kick you out. That's another thing. I had it done once in Russia 10 years ago. That's the last time I had it done. They don't kick you out. In the U.S., the last time I had it done before we moved back to Russia, they wheeled me out. I wasn't out. I wasn't back on my feet yet. I couldn't stand up yet. They wheeled my ass out. My wife was there, and they just kind of threw me out there. Help him climb in. She had to help me climb in. I'm heavy. I'm friggin' in pounds. I'm about 200 pounds. I'm big, and bone mass is heavy. She had to help me climb up into the car. In Russia, it was take it easy. Whenever you're ready, here's some food. By the way, we give you food so you can eat when you get up. If you got a couple hours, you need to get back on your feet. No problem.
Wow.
Yeah, like that. My wife had her gallbladder removed, and I was working for Halliburton at the time, so Halliburton covered it, and it was the Russian French or the French Russian hospital, which is probably one of the most expensive hospitals in Moscow. But I looked up the cost of it, and my wife stayed after gallbladder surgery. She stayed in the hospital for 4 days or 5 days for observation, and that came out to half the price of in-out surgery in the U.S. in an average hospital.
I'll believe it. I believe it. Yeah. So you've got big oil, you got big pharma, you got big food, you've got all of these huge conglomerate corporations here in the States. And the only thing they're interested, you have big insurance too.
Oh yeah.
Everyone is about maximizing profits and minimizing losses. And nobody is bigger into that right now than insurance. Look about what's happening in California. They're dropping policies. They're not wanting to honor some. Can you imagine just how many of these cases are going to be tied up and litigated? That don't take me that. Look at the legal system.
Yeah.
It takes 7 years to adjudicate a freaking lawsuit.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. This back and forth, so there's no sense of justice. There's no sense of, let's just go through there's no sense of. There's no sense of urgency on the part of government to help Americans.
Yep.
There's no sense of emergency like, hey guys, we need to pump the brakes on this shit because we are really, really going down. And there's no sense of compassion to help the people that are paying you. The taxpayers are funding this, and there's no sense of compassion to let's help our fellow man. Because correct me if I'm wrong, Stas, But the whole purpose of government, especially the American government, was by the people, for the people, right? The whole thing.
Yeah.
And it is totally not that today.
By some of the people, for a very small portion of the people.
Very small portion. The club.
You know, you weren't here, obviously. 2010 is when I moved back to Russia. 2010 was a massive heat wave. Moscow stood for 2 months at about plus 35, plus 40. So for those of you that are standard bound, Fahrenheit bound, it's about 105 degrees, right? So the old peat bogs that had been used 150 years ago for fuel had never been, and this is old swamps. They never got filled back in, and lightning and things like that, and they were burning, right? And a lot of villages all around Western Russia and in the Ural Mountains burned down for various reasons. Everything's bone dry. I mean, no rain for 2.5 months, 105 degrees Fahrenheit in the west. In the mountains, it was about 90 something degrees Fahrenheit. Russia, 2010, Russia was much poorer than it is now. You know what the government did for those people? I mean, I'm talking about the villages would burn out. Some moron would start burning his trash. That's usually how it starts. One moron at the end of a village starts burning his trash. And then within 10 minutes, there's no village left. Just a little bit of wind, that type of heat, and it's all gone. There were wooden houses. You know, just flame goes through. You got enough time to grab your kids, maybe grab your documents, and get the hell out. The government built them all houses. They didn't.
Wow.
No. They didn't bring them trailers. They built them new houses, and they did it before winter kicked in. And winter kicks in November.
That is something. That's an observation that I've made. I've said this to my wife many times. I've said this to friends in Russia. That you get a sense, at least this foreigner does. This foreigner gets the sense that Russia takes care of its own, that it has a concern for its citizens. Is it perfect? Probably not. Does it fail in some places? Probably, because it's bureaucratic like anywhere else. But on the whole, I feel much more safe and protected and secure within the borders of Russia than I do within the borders of the United States. Hopefully, this will change, because I will say this again, Americans deserve better. We deserve better as Americans. And here's the thing. Most Americans don't know that they deserve better. They're so focused on, how am I going to make my next mortgage payment? I got to feed the kids. Kids have gone back to school. Oh, my kids are growing, so they need a new pair of shoes now because the old pair doesn't fit anymore. They are concerned with just day-to-day living.
Survival.
That they don't have time to see this big picture. So most Americans don't even know or realize what's going on. But I think at some level they do understand that, hey, man, it can't continue this way. It just can't. We deserve better.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you why we deserve better. Not only is it written in a document, I've seen better.
Yeah.
It's called Russia. Go see it.
And I'll tell you, I've traveled all across Russia because I worked in supply chain for oil and gas. I had manufacturing facilities all over Russia. So for all those people, oh, Russia doesn't make anything. Russia makes everything. Not as much as maybe it needs to, but that's growing too. But it makes, I've been up and down all over Russia. And I'll tell you, it is night and day every time you come back, how much things are growing. And it's not just Moscow. And the food variety, by the way, is everywhere. It's not just because it's the capital city. You go 300 kilometers away, you go 500 kilometers away, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. And by the way, for all of you construction people, Mariupol, when the fighting started there first,
I was going to bring that up.
250,000 people lived there. Every single house was damaged to destroyed. Half the city's up and repaired. Tons of brand new neighborhoods, gigantic new medical clinic or hospital for children. All of this built in 2 years while there's a war going on. Now, There are 4 provinces about the size of Texas combined, actually like 2 Texases combined, that need to be rebuilt because the Ukrainians didn't put any money in. They just sucked money out and the war and all that. So if you're in construction, you're a professional, you got enough work here for the next 20 years.
Yeah. And you know what? It ain't going to be BlackRock doing it.
No, 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 no.
Yeah.
So yeah,
choose your sides.
choose your sides.
Choose your sides.
You're not
Man.
going to have to, for the next
Definitely.
10 years minimum, you're not going to have to do any kind of hurricane chasing. Just come to Russia and work on
Come to Russia. You've got a life here. You got a life here for the next 20 years, at least. I mean, a working life.
working.
If you've got it within you. Yeah.
Yep, yep, absolutely. Most people are afraid. I don't know why, but yeah, I still get insults.
afraid.
Oh, you're in a communist hellhole. Like, seriously? News travels slow, right?
Oh, big time. You know, well, a lot of them are just trolls. A lot of them are paid trolls. I'm sure they're, probably from the Anthony Blinken side of the State Department, and whatever they're doing.
Eddie, if it was only that, it's people I personally know. And some of them I've known for decades.
Yeah.
So I know they're not
No.
trolls. It's just, it's either they don't
Ignorance.
want to accept reality and they have to kind of strike back like that, or it just doesn't filter through.
Well, I think part of it too is psychological because here's the deal. Americans were told over and over and over, Russia bad, Russia bad, Russia bad. And then now they discover, wait a minute, my government, I held them in such high esteem. They would never lie to me. And now they discover they've been lied to. And now the reality is opposite. And they have a difficult time letting it go because they feel it's an insult to themselves that they fell for the propaganda, they fell for the lie from the government, and it's just, hey man, just let it go, bro. Just come visit Russia. Worryfreerussia.com.
It's the same thing as most people who get swindled, they never report it because it's an ego thing. Because if they report
Absolutely.
it, swindlers, I mean, really, very few swindlers get reported, right? They dupe their mark and they go away, and they know the mark's not going to say anything because it's a shame thing. Oh, I've been swindled once, and they used the deep fake voice of a friend of mine, which is the only reason he got me on there. And I tell people I'll swallow that ego thing. I'll tell people so they don't get swindled. But people get swindled and they don't want to admit it, and it's the same thing.
Absolutely, and I think that's a lot of that type of negativity comes from. It's an internal thing.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's sad. I'll tell you what, the Southeast side deserves the South deserves a hell of a lot more than it's getting after the hurricanes and everything. It's still got my knickers in a wad.
No, absolutely. I not only that, I experienced that too. So I'm here on the southern border. In case you guys don't know, I am literally on the border. I am in Brownsville, Texas, and I am maybe, I don't know, 2-3 miles from the Mexican border, if that.
The bullets fly that far.
Say again?
Bullets fly that far.
Bullets fly that far. Exactly. Well, anyway, I have seen more immigrant beggars hanging out by the malls. They hang out by the theaters, by the supermarkets, and they'll approach you and ask you for money. And so why are they doing this? Because they've been lied to. They were told, hey, come to the land of plenty. Come to the land of prosperity. The borders are open. Okay? And then they get here and find out, oh, crap. You guys have a depressed economy. I can't even get a job, sweeping a sidewalk. I can't get a job cleaning a toilet in a hotel because, well, the only people in the hotel are immigrants because they're the ones, the government's paying the contracts to the hotel. It's like, it's a mess here, a mess. And so the task ahead of the Trump administration is so monumental. Mm-hmm. And not only is it a monumental task, you still have a deep state that doesn't want that to go away.
Bingo.
So we're still going to have the battles. I think we will see some improvements. I don't know how, and I don't know to what degree. I hope they do come, but I would say let's expect a little bit more of this push and pull, because the tasks ahead are monumental.
You know what pisses me off when they go, "Oh, these are jobs Americans won't do," because you hear the same thing in Russia from the same type of people that want to import more labor, unskilled labor out of Central Asia. The same thing as where they're pulling out of Mexico or other places, unskilled labor because the Russians won't do this job. Of course they will, if the pay is normal. But what they want to do is push down the market on pay, save themselves a hell of a lot of money by pulling in all these illegals or semi-legals. And when the problems start, it's the government and it's the taxpayer that has to take care of it.
And that's from a Western playbook.
Yeah.
That's Western corporation playbook right there.
I'll tell you another thing. There was I read a little bit of it. I need to go find it. It was a report from 2010, a UN report on immigration into Russia, and to level Russia out with the rest of the world, because you got to understand, there's one of these reports for every Western and every industrialized country. They wanted to import 180 million people into Russia in 30 years. Double the population, not with Russians, not with Chechens, not with Tatars, or whoever, is native to it, but taking people from the same thing as they're flooding the U.S. with. And Europe and everybody else. So, and this is from the UN. I mean, these are published documents. It's insane. It's an absolute insane asylum.
Yeah, it really is. And if you go against it, you get labeled as something bad, you know? And here's the thing. I don't care about labels anymore, I was in law enforcement for a while, which means you got a target on your back 24/7. You were in the military. You got a big target on you. I don't care. Call me whatever you want. Call me every name in the book. I do not care.
Yeah.
The thing about it is that you cannot be afraid to speak how you really feel. If it's your conviction, you got to be able to stick it out. And whatever they want to label you with, just take it, man. Just take it as a badge. I'll take it. You want to call me, whatever. I'm racist. Okay, I'm racist. Give me the badge. I'll wear it. I'll wear it with pride. I'm a racist, says you. Big deal. Okay?
Yep.
Let's move on.
Well, do you remember the Proud Boys? The ultra-white, racist, Nazi organization headed by a Hispanic. Whoops. Well, they still put them in jail for racism, but like, where's the... they don't want unskilled, unneeded, illegal immigration in. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. It's not a matter of you're against immigration. You just want people that can actually add something to your economy.
Yeah, but kind of sounds like a valid argument to me. You know what I mean? Let's hear them out.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing with Russia. By all means, if you're a skilled laborer, especially a skilled laborer who's Christian, because that fits with the majority of the Russian population, why not? Come on in. You're adding to society. If you're unskilled labor, it's probably going to be bumming around. Well, no, thank you. The hell we need it. We got enough of our own.
That's the thing, because people who become idle and you can't get a job, you can't find food, you can't find shelter. Guess what you're going to do?
Crime.
You're going to resort to crime.
Yep.
Hello. This is not algebra. This is simple math. Okay, we've known this. This has been taught in criminal justice and law enforcement. You can look at the studies. Okay,
absolutely.
Idleness. Look at the ghettos. Look at the barrios. In East LA, here in Texas, or whatever. Idleness leads to crime.
Idle hands are the playground of the devil.
There you go.
That's but our ancestors didn't know anything. They're all morons and primitive primitive barbarians. We're gonna create everything new and think of everything else. Yeah, how far did that get us so far?
As they say, there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah. except the woke people. I don't think they've ever been that bad anywhere in history.
Dang, man.
Come
That's
on.
bad.
Even in the worst moments of Roman degeneracy, man, I think if the total Roman degenerates looked at the West these days, I go, geez, no, man, that's too far.
Yeah,
The devil's probably already going, come on, tone it down a little bit.
you guys went overboard, man.
Jesus. You've been gone for a year and a half from the U.S. How does it feel when you go, the shock
Dude,
factor?
let me tell you, it's not the same. You know what I mean? So here, my head's back on a swivel again. I don't pack anymore because, well, I don't own a weapon.
Right.
But if I did, I guarantee I'd be strapping.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, so my head's on a swivel. I'm now, and here's the other thing, is your head is on a swivel. Guess what? Because 95% of the other people around you, their head's on a swivel too.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Everybody's looking over their back. Everybody's looking over their shoulder. You know why? Because they don't feel safe, Stas.
Bingo.
That's why.
And when you were in Russia, how much were you swiveling?
Yeah. Why are gun sales as high as they are? Because people don't feel safe.
Yep.
In Moscow, in Russia, I'm perfectly safe. It took me a while to lose this and wanting to sit with my back against the wall where I could see the door. And where I could, yeah, to an extent. I still have, you can't get rid of all of your situational awareness.
No.
You just can't. But it did bring, instead of being a yellow, I've come down to a green, But here, you gotta be looking.
Oh yeah.
What's this guy doing? What are their intentions? All of that stuff. And it's like, you know what, dude? I'm tired. I'm tired.
Most people don't realize that.
I don't want to live like this.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. That's why I say Americans deserve better.
Yep.
And if you don't know what better looks like, take the time to research it. Plan a vacation for you and your family. Come to Russia this summer. Best time to come, late July, mid-August. Those 3-4 weeks, best time, in my opinion, for weather. And come visit Moscow.
I don't know. This year, I'd probably say you could probably safely show up in March because it looks like spring's going to be about 2 months early.
It just might be, man. There was a day where I can't remember. I was looking at the temperature here, and I think it was like +3, and I think in Moscow it was like +4. And I was
it was
man, we're actually
3 days ago.
Here.
It was a third of my yard was green. Then it started snowing in the evening. But a third of my yard melted off. I'm like, there's so little snow this year because it keeps melting and melting and melting. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like a Virginia, Northern Virginia winter. Maybe a little colder than that. Maryland, that type of winter.
A lot more mild.
Yeah, it does. That's we're supposed to have some deep freezes supposedly somewhere in February, but maybe not. I think we had 3 days of deep freeze this year, and about a third of the days are above freezing. Tomorrow, by the way, is going to be +2, so about 46,
nice.
About 36.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, but that's my whole spiel, Stas, is like, you won't know what better looks like until you come visit.
Yep.
And then you will come back to the United States. You will be radicalized, and you'll be talking to your senators and your representatives and saying, "Hey, dude, we deserve better."
Yep.
I've seen it.
Yep.
And it's possible. When a government takes care of its people, good things can happen.
Well, we are out of time. We've got about 20, 30 seconds left. It just shows less than a minute. So everybody, thank you for joining. Eddie, thank you. Waiting for you to get back here so we can go do a barbecue and share some whiskey. So
we can definitely have a liquid celebration. Man.
Yes, absolutely. We will. We will. Soon enough. All right. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.
To the next one. Cheers.
Okay.